And today I'm going to make another simple layout, and I'm using some old paper by Basic Gray. I'm not sure what the paper is because I took it out of the paper pack and it's been in my stash for at least a couple of years, but it's these papers from Paper Gray. Was it or Basic Gray? That was the name of it, Basic Gray. So these are the papers that I'm going to use for my layout. It's kind of this stress looking paper, double-sided. Here's another one. This paper is no longer out on the market. So what I'm doing is I'm using some of my old papers and I'm using with some new embellishments to kind of give it a new life. Glitter Girl had a challenge, and one of them was about taking your old paper collection, mixing it with some new paper collections or new embellishments and stuff like that, and kind of give it a new life. So that's what I'm doing. So another stuff that I'm gonna technique that I'm showing you is I have this transparency that is sticky back transparency, and I do my own die cut kind of transparency embellishment. So what I do is I take the stamps that I really like some of these stamps, and I create a sheet, and then I save the sheet, so later on I cut pieces out of it and I put it on my layout. And I mainly put things from my collections of stamps that I know I'm going to use over and over, like Totally Fabulous, Cherish, but Beautiful, these banners and things like that. So that's what I did. So I took some. You need StazOn for sure, so I used some StazOn. I used my stamps and I kind of stamped a whole sheet. And this is one of the stamps that I'm using, and there's some other ones that I have mixed in there. I also have a die cut that I made. If you've seen some of my videos, I've showed you how I take the dividers from my copper hopper and I repurpose those dividers into other uses, into die cuts and things like that. So I made this die cut out of one of those dividers, and I use it in order to make die cuts for my page. So this is my page. I also am using in the page, this is some of that new Tim Holtz glycine paper, which I stamp, I crumbled, and then I made a flower. I punched out with a flower punch, and I made a flower, and I put a rhinestone in the middle. Now, this glycine is very tricky to use. Even if you use StazOn, it rubs off unless you heat set it. So because it has like a waxy surface, when you stamp it, you have to heat set it. If you use any of the excuse me, if you use any of the perfect pearls or anything like that, you have to heat set it after you put the perfect pearls. So it's when you heat set it, the wax, it looks like the wax melts and sets the image in, or sets the color in, or the powders in. So you really have to heat set it after you stamp it. And I do like the effect. It's kind of that vintagey kind of effect. So I'm going to use that. I also am using, let me show you what I found at Tuesday morning. Today is May 12th. So yesterday I went to May 11th. I went to Tuesday morning, and they had these wonderful stamps from 7 Gypsy. And these stamps are actually pre-inked. So you don't have to have ink on it. Let me show you one. This is one of the coupons that I got. But see, it's pre-ink, and I like the stamp. And I got these for $2.99. So I got these stamps, and I got this stamp, and these, and these. So for $2.99, I got all each of these for $2.99. So if you have a Tuesday morning close to you where you're at, I would kind of advise you to go and get these stamps. I mean, it's a set of 3. It's like perfect. Okay, and I just broke that one. I don't know how that happened, but it just broke. Okay, so the first technique I want to show you, so it's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of want to show you today. The first technique that I want to show you is creating these flowers out of a simple punch. I punch it out, and then I take my embosser and I kind of roll it in and create like a cone shape, and then turn it over and kind of like press in the middle. I put some adhesive in the middle. I'll take my tweezers and I put the next flower, but I offset it a little bit. I put it off the center. And then I'm going to put some adhesive in the middle. And I'm going to take some of my rhinestones. Yep. And take a rhinestone. Oops. And I'm just going to put it in the middle that way. And that's how I create my flowers. Now let me go ahead and clean my hands, because a lot of times when you're working with ink, always keep some handy wipes available so you can clean your ink off your hands, so that way you don't transfer it to your paper like I did to that flower. But so this is what I'm gonna do. So this is my layout. So I'm gonna put my die cut here. These are 3.5 by 3.5. This is a 6.5 by 4.5. I use my photo corner punch to create these corners, and I'm going to use some of the icons from my stamp sheet, like the camera, Totally Fabulous, and then this banner. And over here I'm going to go ahead and I cut out the flowers to kind of make like a little embellishment here, like so. And I might even color in that arrow red, so that way it'll give a little more dimension. So let me go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to take everything off the pages, and now I'm going to show you a stamp. So I'm using the stamp to just create 2 stamp images on either side of my paper. I also use some distressing ink to kind of distress the edges. And then I'm going to use a foam, makeup foam or makeup applicator to kind of press the paper down once I glue it. I like to use that makeup sponge because that way I don't transfer my ink smudges from my fingers onto the paper. So that's why I like using a foam, that makeup foam. So now I'm going to put my other photo mats, and that's why I like to use glue stick to glue my pages down, because I have a little bit of time to move things around before it becomes permanent. And I tend to do a lot of mistakes, so that's why I like using a glue stick. So now I'm peeling off the backing of my transparency, and I'm going to color that arrow red, and then I'm going to use a blending tool to kind of blend in the pencil marks. And a blending tool is very good to have. I recommend, if you don't have one, to kind of get one, because it really blends the colors for your color pencils or even your markers. It really does a great job on blending the colors. So now I'm just putting more my banners, my sticky back banner on my layout, and then I'm going to put my fabulous saying, Totally Fabulous, on there. And you know, all this layout's inspired by Glitter Girl, about taking old paper stacks that you have and kind of using some of your new embellishment or even new paper and combining it with your old stacks and bringing it and giving it a new life. So I really like that camera image stamp that I have, and I'm kind of using it more and more in all my layouts. And that's kind of like what's hot nowadays, is cameras and Polaroids and things like that. So I backed it up with a little bit of cardstock, and I'm also going to put some dimensional adhesive so that way it will pop up on my page. Now I'm going to put some flowers and around my image, my clusters, and I'm almost done. I think I'm done with the layout. I just want to make it real simple, not a lot of fuss. So this is my layout, and I hope you like it. Come back to see me for some more.